So consolidation is really the biggest driver of our data center business, whether it's commercial or federal. In the federal space, it really breaks down into three areas. The first is services. So we, from things like doing an efficiency assessment to determine your current state versus where you can get, to a consolidation assessment to determine from a technical point of view which facility you should be moving into, to building a data center, to then operating and maintaining it. So those are different services we provide.
Oh.
The biggest area, the second one, is really the hardware infrastructure. So when you do something like consolidation, you tend to drive densities way up, and a lot of the existing infrastructure in an existing facility isn't going to function properly. So the majority of what we do with federal agencies is a concept of installing a high-density, high-efficiency pod in an existing facility that allows you to consolidate into without impacting the rest of the facility. So really cost-effective approach.
Yeah, really.
Well, first, we're still seeing projects. There's just extra steps involved with the approval. So if an agency can show if a project can show that it supports the agency's consolidation goals, we're seeing those projects get approved. But you mentioned something interesting, that there's an upfront cost associated with that, and there certainly is. But I think we're going to see more of the concept of energy savings performance contracts in the data center world.
Yeah.
And which is, for people that aren't familiar with it, a means of financing energy improvement projects and paying for it out of future savings, so that there is no upfront cost, or a financing company is the one that sees the upfront cost.
I've been being briefed on that, and I think it's sort of like one of those hidden gems out there, and I'm actually going to start spreading the word around government about that approach, because I think they've been used quite a bit for facilities.
That's correct.
But they haven't been viewed in the IT world that much.
We're starting to see it, though. We're starting to see it in the data center space.
Good.
It is something we come across. From a services standpoint, we are in the operating and maintenance end of a data center, but as it pertains to cloud, the real thing that changes for us is some of the design criteria is different in a data center that's going to own a cloud environment, and obviously some physical security requirements are a little bit different. And then in the case of a public cloud, it just changes who our customer is.
Right, right.
That's the main thing. Yeah, certainly I think awareness of some of these new options is something that we need to help accelerate. But I think the biggest thing, we're not going to see a bunch of new data centers being built to go consolidate into. There's some few exceptions, but by and large we're not going to see that. So the biggest limitation that we see on more of the physical infrastructure side is these older data centers or existing data centers that you're consolidating equipment into just can't handle. Without some changes being done to the infrastructure, they can't handle it. So that's something that we're trying to help overcome. And as you do that, you want to drive up the efficiency of the data center. Another big problem is most of the federal data centers that are out there, they're not metered today. There's no measurement devices in place necessarily to help you even understand what your current efficiency is, much less where you can get to down the road.
Right. Now, isn't there a mandate coming, though? Or doesn't OMB have something out about metering by some year out in the future?
There is, yeah. It's out there. But it doesn't necessarily exist today. So, and we have some estimation tools that can come very close to letting you understand your current data center efficiency just by using some online tools to go and do that. Yeah. So I think there's an obvious savings to be had from closing facilities and moving into other existing facilities. But on top of that, I think we're going to see a significant increase in the efficiency of the existing data centers. The pod approach that I referenced earlier should be able to get data center efficiency, if you measure it in terms of power uses effectiveness, PUE, should be able to get it down to about a 1.35, which is tremendously better than where we are today, although not as good as if you were building something from scratch. But I also think we're going to see data center operators that have a real-time view into that. So if you have a real-time view into your efficiency of your facility, it really lets you drive operational decisions that support efficiency over time. And then lastly, I think moves, adds, and changes are going to, today are typically done ad hoc, and I think that's going to move into a more, be managed via a platform that gives you, that's based on real-time information.
Right, just better efficiency all around for all.